And then on the flip side, if you spin over there, a stark contrast, you've got trans flags. Trans flags, there was a Palestine flag I saw a bit earlier, RMT union banners. So if you want to see a visual difference of the two sides here, the protesters and the counter-protesters, just look at the flags.
Apologies there if you saw any hand gestures that you may have been offended by. Anyway, we then decided to make our way to the counter-protest pen used by Stand Up to Racism. That's where things got a little bit more frosty. OK, we managed to get inside the pen. The police let us in with our press passes. Let's speak to this guy here. Excuse me. Hi, I liked your sign. You want a quick chat? What does your sign say, sir? Tear down borders. It says tear down borders. Hi, guys. Oh, that's not very nice. We're just here to...
Get out of here! You're anti-fascista!
Hello, sir. Fancy a quick chat? We're just asking what you want to happen to the hotel.
No, you can talk to one of the chief stewards. You see the guys in the orange vest?
Oh, the orange dress. Thank you.
No, you're GBNews.
Yes.
You are.
How you doing? You okay?
No, I don't want to talk to you, thank you.
Oh, you just came up to me.
I want you here.
You don't want us here?
No. Can you off, please?
Yeah. That's okay.
If you want to talk to me, hang on, I'll find you someone.
You don't need to be so angry.
Do you know who your own... Why wouldn't we be so angry?
You don't need to be angry.
People are dying around the world.
Anyway, as you can see, I was directed to speak to one of the security organisers for Stand Up to Racism. I eventually found him and asked for a conversation, and this was his response. You got a few minutes for a quick word?
Off you go, you're not welcome. You're not welcome.
Well, we're allowed in here, actually.
You're not welcome here.
I'm sorry, we're allowed in here.
No, you're not welcome
Are you
here,
from
mate.
Stand Up to Racism? Do you want a quick conversation? You're here on a counter-protest. Would you like a quick conversation? Thank you. We were told to speak to you, sir, as one of the organisers. Would you like a quick word? Seems strange that you come down here with a counter-protest. You've got a big security presence, big police presence, and you don't want to talk about things. I must recommend that guy take a holiday soon, as he seemed a little bit agitated today for some reason. Anyway, we left the area and started making our way back onto the road so I could report live into Nana Akweer's GB News show at around 4 p.m. Despite being silent when I tried speaking to them, the counter-protesters suddenly found their voice once we'd left their pen. I did try and entertain conversation from the protesters. I spoke to one of the organisers who arranged this counter-protest today. I said, would you like a chat, a conversation about why you're here today? Would you like to try and make your point? But this is the response you get from the left. Goodness me, not an original thought between them. We decided to call it a day soon after that, and that's when it became clear just actually how organised Stand Up to Racism were. They'd had their own 20-strong private security team with them, bouncers, security guards, some wearing their licences on their arms, escorting them all around Epping, finally into the pen and then back to the station. Take note of the waddling guy behind me in this next clip as I delivered my report to Nana Akweer. I didn't notice him at the time, but viewers at home rightly pointed out he seemed to be a little bit fixated with me. The private security, so these guys here, with security on his back there, the high-vis jackets with Stand Up to Racism, these are private security teams funded and employed by Stand Up to Racism. There's police flanking the groups as well. The counter-protesters now moving their way down back to the station. Big sign there, I'm not sure if you can see it, Nana and viewers, it says, don't let the far right divide us with their hatred and violence. Exactly, I would have liked to have asked a few people, how many migrants have you housed in your home? It's the age-old question, isn't it, to people who want open borders. The answer is normally, well, I haven't got any room. But unfortunately, as I said, when we got into the counter-protester pen, we were pretty much jumped on. And there is some, I'd say, shocking footage that I'm going to be showing on my show tonight. Let's see if we can... I was going to say, see if we can speak to anybody, but there's, as I said, these private security teams blocking them off. Oh, he did seem to like me, didn't he? Good spot, viewers at home. OK, let's get the thoughts of my panel now. Political commentator Matthew Goodwin-Freeman, political commentator Chloe Dobbs and the former editor of Labour List, Peter Edwards. Good evening, panel. Good evening. Look, I just showed those clips really just to give a little flavour of the protests today, the counter-protesters. Should we discuss, though, on a wider scale, Chloe, about the Epping hotel situation and indeed the wider migrant hotel situation? Do you agree with the locals who say this hotel and other hotels should be shut down, or the counter-protesters are saying, you know, refugees welcome, open borders?
I absolutely agree with the parents. I mean, how can you possibly, as a mother or a father, find out that you have little girls being sexually assaulted in your area? Allegedly, and doing nothing about it. The parents, before this guy from the hotel was even charged, they had to set up a community group to talk about the dangers and protect each other's children, because there were, before this, plenty of them saying that there were dodgy men walking around looking at girls. You've got a bunch of guys together who have nothing to do. What do you expect them to get up to? And I think it's completely delusional for people to stand there in the counter-protest and call mothers who are just concerned about the well-being of their child. I'm sure that some of them aren't even normally that political and probably don't identify as right or left. It's normal to care about the safety of your child, and they're just saying, you're a bunch of fascists. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I feel a bit bored, really, of repeating this same old talking point, because I went to the Trump protests in Edinburgh on yesterday morning, and they were doing the same thing. These people just don't, Matthew, want to engage in a conversation, in a debate. I find the psychology behind it really confusing and a little bit weird, how you'd spend time and energy, you'd wake up in the morning, you pack your bags, you'd get ready, you go down to a protest, maybe travel hundreds of miles, and then when it comes to it, you have nothing to say. It just baffles my brain.
Well, don't you love the fact that the mums, the dads, the concerned parents, the concerned residents who don't normally come out and get involved in politics, taking this to the street to peacefully protest, are apparently the baddies. But then Antifa and Stand Up to Racism, you know, banners for the RMT, they're the good guys? I'm sorry, but the lovely, fluffy left are nothing but utter vile mobs. That's what you saw. And the fact is, you were very peacefully asking for, in interviews, asking for people's opinions, willing to listen to both sides of the debate. But there is never a debate with that lot. It is they are right and you are wrong, regardless. And I'm sorry, but, you know, they've got banners saying refugees are welcome in Epping. Well, how many of them are going to take a refugee into their house? Because the answer is always, oh, I don't have space. I'm renting, I can't, I don't have space at all. Sorry, if you want refugees are welcome, take one into your house. I did want to ask them, but I literally could not fire off one question without them either ignoring me or abusing me. Peter, what's your take on that? I mean, Matthew thinks that... What did you say? That the lovely, fluffy left
are full of hatred.
They're vile.
Would you go along with that sentence?
They are.
Of course not, and I'm against lumping lots of different people into single groups, and I'm against insulting people, calling them vile mobs, and so on and so on. I think, first of all, anyone doing a protest or their representatives has to be willing to speak to the media. In my former life as a newspaper reporter, I went into many uncomfortable situations, and you need a spokesman or a spokeswoman that's going to be able to plead your case. A bit baffled why they didn't do that. Clearly understand, and by the way, I'm a parent, and I'm from Essex, just on the border of Epping. So there are strong feelings on both sides. I'm worried that there's intimidation, because there shouldn't be that ever. I'm worried that someone's been charged with an alleged sexual assault. There hasn't been a trial yet. What I didn't hear from either side, and there are only a couple of minutes of footage, to be fair, I've not been down there to meet them, what I didn't hear from either side was a kind of solution about what they want to happen next, because we do have these types of hotels, and shunting them from one council area to another is just that. It doesn't really resolve the issue. What would your solution be in, say, Epping, as a fairly local guy down there? Would you close this hotel, bearing in mind the alleged situation that's gone on? Well, I don't live in Essex anymore, to be candid. I grew up there and have a lot of affection for the place. Closing one hotel and relocating it to the next borough along, I'm not sure what that achieves. And I'd be lying if I said I had the solution, because I think politicians of all parties have struggled because it's such an emotive and sometimes distressing issue. There were, of course, many other protests over the past couple of nights. I think, was it Norfolk, Leeds and elsewhere, Bournemouth and Southampton? Yep. So this isn't just an isolated migrant hotel situation. Chloe, what would you do with migrant hotels? I think you've got both long-term and short-term solutions, right? So the long-term solution is you need to stop the boats from coming in the first place. I mean, you know, we've just had Trump visiting in Scotland, and he told Europe essentially, get your act together. And I'm sure if Trump was in charge, he would find a solution to stop the boats from coming. What would Trump do, do you reckon?
Oh, well, I mean, look what he did with Colombia. He threatened them with huge tariffs and said, if you don't take these lot back. There are loads of things that you could do. In the short term, I do... well, first of all, they need to process claims quicker whilst also making sure they vet people properly, not just rubber stamping everyone through. And second of all, yes, there are still going to be, in the short term, some people here, but you do need to consult local areas and make sure you don't put them close to a school. So, I mean, for example, the hotel that was opened in Altrincham in Manchester without telling anyone, it was right by both a primary school and an all-girls school. That is just stupid.
Well, there are 2 schools near this Bell Hotel in Epping. I was up there today looking at the maps. There's 2 local schools. Matthew, what would you do? What would Trump do and what would you do?
Well, I mean, Trump showed everybody what he would do. He got the flights and he got people out the country, so much so that the international community is saying, oh, you can't do it, you can't. I'm sorry, but that's what we've got to do. We've got to start putting our country first. We've got to start looking after the British
That sounds
nationals.
a bit racist.
Well, no, it's not, actually. It's called looking after your country. It's called being patriotic, proud of Britain. I'm sorry, but we've seen the French are all too willing to slash a boat when the camera crews are there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's make sure there's more camera crews and fund them with the £500 million to be slashing more Stanley knives with all the boats. I'm sorry, but we've got to be processing people faster. You know, the Conservative Party did not deal with this issue. That's why we got kicked out of government. So I hope that the Labour government gets on with it and actually does start smashing the gangs. But the only thing they're doing at the moment is smashing the records. And the British public are fed up. And you're seeing this. We are seeing protests and protests all around the country. This is not going to go away. This is the major issue for the next couple of years up until the next general election. And it is down to Labour, with a humongous majority, to deal with this. They could deal with this tomorrow if they wanted to.
Well,
I mean,
what
Patrick went to Calais for 24 hours and was able to find a bunch of gang members and their identities. It shows how easy it is.
Home Secretary.
What Matthew said is not correct, and Chloe hit on the truth earlier, that we all want to see fewer hotels, and that's because of the big backlog. And one of the things Labour committed to and have begun to do is investing in more Home Office officials who get through the backlog quicker, cut the caseload, so there's less need for the hotels in the first place. And that's not very political, it's kind of boring, but it's pragmatic, and it starts to get the job done.
What do you make of Angela Rayner's comments, though, warning about potentially a repeat of last summer's riots?
I sincerely hope it isn't that, but I think she's right to stress there are community tensions, and she's right to make the link between community tensions and poverty, because often particular council areas have had hotels or other types of processing facilities set up without consultation.
Yeah, and also the ones which are set up now, I say again, I said last night, Newcastle City Council put out a memo saying we will not reveal where migrant hotels are popping up out of the privacy concerns for its residents. West Oxfordshire Council had the same sort of thing. So just finally, last word, Matthew, should locals be consulted or at least informed that hotels are popping up?
It's all about,
out of courtesy.
It's all about safety. It's all about safety. Local residents should be able to feel safe in their communities. Yeah. And the fact that local residents aren't is what is leading to these peaceful protests that then are not peaceful as soon as Antifa and Stand Up to Racism turn up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's the fact. And anyone trying to say anything else is just kidding.
Well, we've seen people on the right attack police officers. Which is inexcusable.
OK, and who's the bad ones today? Who was shouting racism to Ben? Who was shouting far-right fascist to GB News?
Was that
the parents and protesters?
I've already said that journalists shouldn't be threatened or intimidated, and I say that, someone that's in the NUJ for many years.
So, Peter, to clarify, what happened when you had some rioting kicking off at one of the Epping protests is you had a bunch of peaceful protesters, then Antifa turned up and started causing some chaos, and then you had, like, local teenage thugs who probably weren't really that interested in the safety of the children and the politics, decided, oh, we heard something's kicking off, let's all go down and have some fun today. So, yes, it was not all Antifa, but they essentially... You know, they drove all the teenagers to come down and essentially, go up against them.
Well, the two groups are separated, though, as we saw in the footage. The two groups are separated.
Now they are.
Now
because,
they are.
The police, after what happened that first time in Epping, they put all these fences up to keep people separate.
Yeah. It's sad that it's necessary, but it's kind of normal where you have a protest. We see it in Central London, a protest and a counter-protest. You have brave officers keeping the group separate.
Yeah, I think there are 1,500, I was told by one copper, 1,500 coppers down there today in Epping.
Brilliant use of police resources when we could be going out there catching criminals and dealing with crime that's spiralling out this country, but instead they've got to go there to keep Antifa in line.
Yeah, I will say though, the police did get stick for the bussing the protesters out of the protest last time. They were very good today, and they were good in Scotland yesterday, and they were good at the pro-Palestine march I was at some weeks ago as well. The police, in my first-hand experience, have been decent, and that's coming from somebody who is all too happy to stick the boot in when they deserve a bit of criticism. Anyway, panel, thank you very much. Let's move on. It's the final week to see how you could become £54,321 richer in our biggest cash giveaway to date. Lines close on Friday, August the 1st, so make sure you don't miss out. Here's all the details you need to win.
It's the final week to see how you could win big. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Lines close at 4 p.m. this Friday, so make sure you don't miss out.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Very good luck to you. Up next, after Donald Trump agreed an EU trade deal described as huge, of course he did, in Scotland, we'll debate all the latest developments north of the border, including his words of wisdom, I'd argue, to our very own Bev Turner on Friday, saying that Europe is at risk of basically killing itself with uncontrolled mass migration. Back in a tick on Ben Leo Tonight.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day.
bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Some quick your says and emails. David, good evening. You said, I'm a father of a 4-year-old, that's quite important, and a paramedic by profession. I'm not far right or racist, but our local town of Waterlooville, which is in Hampshire, I think, has been chosen by the Home Office to house illegal migrants. There is a protest organised for Wednesday, which I've been considering attending. However, I fear that due to being a caring father, I could be labelled as far right. Good point, David, and I'm sure your sentiment is shared by lots of other parents up and down the country. And one more from somebody on X who tweeted me, hey Ben, why have you just lied on your show saying it was Nigel Farage who found the Sharia law job advert posted by the DWP? This was widely shared on X some 6 hours before Farage jumped on the bandwagon, including Rupert Lowe, who'd written a letter to somebody. Fine, I thought it was Farage first. Does it really matter? It's a great story. It's an important thing which needs to be discussed and exposed. If it was Rupert Lowe, well done, Rupert Lowe. Right, let's move on. Leaders of the United States and European Union have reached a landmark trade deal during Donald Trump's visit to Scotland. EU kingpin, there she is, Ursula von der Leyen, said it will bring stability while announcing 15% tariffs across the board. And President Donald Trump, of course, revealed the EU is set to make $600 billion in US investments. And the EU is also set to buy $150 billion in US energy. GB News' very own superstar, Bev Turner, was there for us, and she asked the US President this question on immigration.
Already you said that Europe is being crushed by mass migration, and I wonder whether your friends on this side of the room agree with you on that.
Well, I'd let you respond to that if you'd like.
So, we have been working intensively on the topic of irregular migration. And we have, from the very beginning, said that migration is a European challenge that needs a European answer. As Europeans, we will fulfill our international obligations, as we've done in the past, also in the future. But we, as Europeans, are the ones who decide who comes to the European Union and under what circumstances, and not the smugglers and traffickers. That's the principle in which we are working.
Immigration, Europe has a tremendous problem, and we do too, but we've sealed our borders. We have nobody coming in, and we have hundreds of thousands of people being taken out, and the bad ones first, and I think we're doing a very good job of that. But we had, I mean, it literally registered 0 people last month. You probably saw that, nobody. And Europe has a very similar problem.
Can you imagine? Illegal migration down to 0. They're gone. It's finished. Let's get the thoughts of my panel now. Political commentator Matthew Goodwin-Freeman, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and the former editor of Labour List, Peter Edwards. Matthew, irregular migration there from Ursula von der Leyen.
It's illegal migration, not irregular migration.
Why did I say irregular?
I think it's to try and, like, soften the whole thing. It's this new government, we're going to change things. Europe's on the same side. It's just absolutely rubbish. I mean, honestly, I could go on about that forever. Can you imagine how brilliant life would be if we actually had the guts to deal with illegal migration in the way that Trump has in America? As he said, 0. 0. We get hundreds in a boat every single day, hotels all around the country. We could solve this overnight, but we're not going to. And Europe, I mean, look, they've announced this trade deal. They had 30% tariffs. Now it's down to 15% tariffs in return for $600 billion investment the other direction. Britain has now 10% tariffs. So we, unlike Europe, are ending up on 10% instead of the 15%. I wonder what that's down to. I think it starts with B. What's it called? Brexit.
Is that a win for Brexit, Peter?
There aren't many. I mean, everyone knows the British.
But is this one a win for Brexit?
Just admit it.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to get over the fact that Trump looks very golden throughout that. Both his hair seemed a slightly different colour. He'd also been in the sun, and he was wearing a gold tie. Once you get onto the substance, I think Ursula von der Leyen, who you might expect me to have some sympathy for, and I do, some of the vote Remain, but I think she's kidding us a bit if she says this brings stability. You know, you can think Trump is good at economics or bad, or he's pragmatic on tariffs or punitive. But one thing you don't have with Donald Trump is economic stability. And I think it's good for the EU and perhaps consequentially for us outside the EU. The EU's got a deal, but I think stability is a long way off for as long as Trump's in charge.
Chloe, your thoughts?
I think it is the case with Trump that he is an unpredictable character, and that very much is the case for his economic policy. And anyone I know that works in trading is just ripping
Trump doesn't know what he's going to say next, let alone us.
Ripping their hair out. And when all the big tariffs came in, everyone was wondering, is there method to the madness? Is he planning to keep these tariffs high? Or is he setting a high tariff so he can negotiate his way down and then get concessions out of countries? And clearly he's done that with the EU in that now he's secured a load of investment into the US. So it looks like there is some method to the madness, and I'm sure the EU are happy that they've got a better idea of what Trump's plan was with those tariffs in the first place, that he wanted to negotiate them down. But I will take your point that Trump is unpredictable.
I know it's a moot point. Actually, it's not a moot point. I think it's quite important because language is very, very important. Chloe, why are people now, even the government, why are people saying irregular migration?
So it was under the Tories. Well, I mean, the civil service technically did it. I don't know how much the government, pushed for that. They changed it from illegal to irregular migration in their, official language because they wanted to take the inflammation out of the conversation about illegal migration. But I think that's just not really achieving anything, to be honest. I mean, normal members of the public are still going to call it illegal migration. If anything, it makes matters worse because it makes the public think, oh, the government aren't taking this seriously. They're not calling it out for what it is.
It's so patronising. It's like they speak to people like they're stupid little children. Peter, why do they do it? What's your thoughts?
I've no idea, and I'm always in favour of telling the truth in a respectful way, but I can't see it catching on. We're sort of in the realms of calling a short person vertically challenged here, rather than just stating the facts. And I think, civil service trying to help, but they may have been a little bit over-delicate on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, when I've spoken to people on who are pro-illegal migration, they are really, really touchy about using the concern illegal. They also say there's no such thing as an illegal migrant. Nobody is illegal.
Well,
they
if you
think
cross the border illegally, you're illegal.
Exactly,
sorry.
But they don't want to admit that. It's this obsession with being all, kind.
Well,
nice and fluffy, nice and wonderful, yeah.
Matthew, I tweeted, just before we move on, I tweeted that the other day. I said, by definition, illegal migrants are criminals because they came into the country illegally. I got so much flack from people saying seeking asylum is not illegal. So they are trying to literally eliminate the
I think
term.
you deserve a bit of flack for that because some people enter through in ways that are not allowed and then claim asylum, so it is a bit more nuanced.
Well, they're all claiming asylum, aren't they? If you come on a small boat, they're all claiming asylum, surely. They're not turning up and saying...
for a holiday.
Not all illegal migrants arrive on small boats. Some arrive through other means.
My tweet was referencing small boat migrants. I said, by definition, in my book, they are all criminals because they are breaking into the country illegally. Under the Immigration Act, what year was it?
No, that doesn't follow. To say you're suggesting that a particular cohort of asylum seekers are 100% criminal, clearly that doesn't stand up to logic.
Why? They've broken into the country illegally?
Because they've not been through the asylum process yet and got their determination. Again, sorry to be factual and nuanced, but just lumping a whole group of people, literally in one boat, in this case, as criminals, is not the answer.
Well, if we want to be factual and nuanced, then will you finally admit that, yes, it's a Brexit success, that we've got 10% and Europe have 15%?
Look, I'm not tolerating...
So you're not factual?
Look, I'm not tolerating a sub-Paxmanist challenge,
Oh, dear.
The economy
this is the problem with the left.
Stop
they can't
interrupting.
face challenging. They just get rude.
I can face challenges. I've stood for Parliament twice and I come on TV. I'm quite happy to be told I'm wrong.
OK.
But being a pound shop Jeremy Paxman is not the answer.
Ooh.
OK. I'll give Matthew some time to think of a comeback and we can catch up with it later. Just very, very quickly, the Illegal Migration Act 2023 in the UK aims to deter and prevent illegal migration by requiring the removal of individuals who enter the country unlawfully. This includes those arriving through unsafe or illegal routes, such as small boat crossings. That was the legislation in 2023. So, anyway, coming up, does the online safety bill leave Brits vulnerable to government censorship? And why are local community centres, this is a big one, hiring Sharia law administrators? Leader of Reform UK's Doge unit, Zia Youssef, is waiting in the wings. He's here with me in 3 short minutes. Back in a tick.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're holidaying across Europe at the moment, conditions are quite varied depending on where you're going. For Iberia, it's fine and settled with some warm sunshine. There were a few showers across parts of the Pyrenees. Some heavier showers and thunderstorms developing around the Alps and down through the Balkan regions as well. The heat wave that we've had across the eastern Mediterranean recently is beginning to ease, and so it's a touch fresher for Greece now, but parts of Turkey could hold on to the heat until later on next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. So Monday is looking a good deal brighter and warmer for many of us. There will still be a few showers around, but many of us will stay dry. And it's all courtesy of this large area of high pressure, the Azores high, ridging towards the UK on Monday. It doesn't last too long though. This frontal system will bring some rain once again by Tuesday. Back to Sunday evening though, and most of the showers are fading away, though some will continue overnight, particularly across the north and the west of Scotland, and some also moving into parts of northwest England on that northwesterly wind. Out towards the east and the south though, the best of the clear skies here, so temperatures in the countryside falling into the high single figures in places, and a bit cooler for many compared to recent nights. It does mean, though, underneath those clearer skies, it will be a much sunnier start to the day compared to Sunday across the east and the south of England in particular. So temperatures quite quickly lifting in that strong July sunshine. A fine day for most of England and Wales, just one or two isolated showers. A few more in the way of showers through the morning across northern and western parts of Scotland. And here, there is still a bit of a breeze coming in from the Atlantic, so a little bit cooler here. But as we go through the course of the day, cloud amounts will vary. Sunshine will come and go, but there will generally be a lot of dry weather on offer on Monday. A scattering of showers developing across England and Wales, but these mostly light and many places will stay dry. And generally in the best of sunshine, we could even see temperatures reaching highs of 24 or 25 Celsius across the south and the east, but certainly a warmer day nationwide and 18 to 20 degrees quite widely in the north of the UK too. For Tuesday, a cloudy and damp picture for many. Outbreaks of rain pushing northwest to southeast across the UK. A lot of low cloud, misty, murky conditions around the coast and over the higher ground. Some heavier showers developing perhaps later too. But generally an unsettled week to come. A mixture of sunshine and showers for many of us. But certainly those temperatures on the rise and feeling very warm and humid at times.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Now, my next guest needs no introduction. Former Reform UK chairman, now in charge of leading their DOGE unit, investigating wasteful spending in councils being run by Reform. Of course, Zia Youssef. Zia, welcome along to the show. Welcome back. Lots to get through, including the Online Safety Act, which you have highlighted two key parts amongst the litany of outrage, but two key particular parts of this which have caused you big concern. Just explain what they are.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure everyone watching this programme understands that this Online Safety Act, Orwellianly named, is plunging this country into a Chinese-style surveillance state. And so the two key things I want to flag inside the Act. Section 44, which allows the Secretary of State to unilaterally force Ofcom to change the rules about what needs to be censored and what doesn't, without an Act of Parliament, without a vote. So basically, it's a death knell of democracy in that respect. The second one is Section 179, which is even more insidious. What it does is make it illegal to say something that is false, that causes, and I quote, non-trivial psychological harm. And it's not just making that illegal, it is forcing social media companies to proactively censor that speech. And the penalties that are being imposed on these social media companies are things like 10% of global revenues and potentially criminal sanction for management. So what's that going to do, Ben? It's going to create an incentive structure for social media companies to over-censor, because that's a rational thing to do if you're trying to protect shareholder value. And we've already seen in the less than 36 hours since this thing has come into force, we've seen protests against migrant hotels in Leeds being actively censored on X, by the way. And X is, thanks to Elon, supposed to be the last bastion of free speech. And we're seeing tweets which criticise immigration being censored. And now the Telegraph reported last night the Prime Minister has brought about a quote, and I quote, an elite police force not to protect British people from illegal migrants and the crime they're committing, but to monitor anti-migrant activity. We are slipping into a world which would, frankly, make Xi Jinping blush.
Two really shocking points there. The sort of censoring of the migrant protests on X, for example, do you think that fell under the second point you mentioned there, which is non-physical psychological harm?
Non-trivial psychological harm. So, yeah, exactly. So this is a totally different threshold to incitement to violence, which is one thing. Now the threshold is literally hurting someone's feelings, right? But here's the point, Ben. What's happening now... No, so what that comes under in terms of the act is, quote, harmful content. And I quote, in some cases, it actually talks about legal but harmful. And just before the camera started rolling, we were having a conversation. You said, who determines that? And I'll tell you who will determine that. The very last people, the people watching this programme, would want determining it. And I want to remind the viewers, as much as Keir Starmer is an abomination and we despise this Labour government, it was the Tories who created this whole situation. It was the Tories who voted it through pretty much unanimously, including the likes of Jenrick, including the likes of Braverman, the ones who now present themselves as anti all of this stuff. They voted all of this stuff through. And I want to emphasise, if we don't do something about this quickly, it is going to be normalised. And I'm telling you, these social media companies, even X with the might of Elon behind him, is going to be no match for the brutality and the power of the British state. Before we move on, very quickly, you're a tech guy. You've run a business. You sold a business. What will these social media companies do? Will they just stop wanting to operate in the UK, or just over censor? Look. If you're a great founder CEO, you've got really loyal management teams. I think asking them to risk going to jail for you for considerable periods of time, look at Lucy Connolly, is too much to ask. So you look at the incentive structure they've created. They have created an equivalence of allowing child pornography on your platform, on the social media platform, with footage of a perfectly lawful protest against illegal immigration. That is what this insidious bill has done. So I think what we're going to see is a massive increase in censorship. And people watching this programme, their voice is going to get muzzled. And also, by the way, if you want to block children watching porn, they're just going to sign up to VPNs anyway. These kids aren't stupid these days. You will reform if you get into government. You'll do what with the act? Just well, I'll tell you what. Nigel is going to go... you'll hear more from about what we're going to do in the coming weeks, but we're going to go much further than just make sure this madness doesn't happen. We're going to do everything that we can constitutionally to enshrine freedom of speech in this country. OK. Moving on, there's been a job advert, I'm going to just summarise this, in Manchester, at Manchester Community Centre, looking for a Sharia law administrator, Zia, paying £23,500 a year. I thought Sharia law wasn't active in this country. Why is a community centre hiring a Sharia law administrator? Well, you know, what's really interesting when I looked at the research on this, to me, somebody advocating for Sharia law is effectively advocating for sedition in this country. So you would assume that would be illegal. It's illegal in the United States. It's illegal in any sensible country. It's not illegal in this country because Gordon Brown took it off the statute. It was Gordon Brown? It was one of the last things he did as Prime Minister was take sedition off the statute books. Look, here's the fundamental point. We have a set of laws in this country. If in England, it's England and Wales, we have the English and Welsh law, and we have Scottish law. That is it. There are no other types of law. It doesn't matter what religion you are, what race you are. Those are the laws that we abide by. And my view, and Reform's view, is anybody advocating or promoting alternative forms of law to that is engaging in sedition, and I think it should be illegal. Yeah, there's also Sharia courts popping up all over the country, and isn't it interesting, Gordon Brown sold the goals at the lows and then opened the door to Sharia law, so yeah, well done, Gordon Brown. Very quickly, before we move on, I want to get your thoughts on this polling for Jeremy Corbyn's new party. Some jesters are calling it Jezbollah, it's actually called Your Party, but they're splitting the Labour voters here, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in reform camps you'd be celebrating, no? Well, look, we're still some time before the next general election, sadly. But in two polls now have come out, Salvation, I think, and Find Out now. If you take the average of those, any analysis of that, inserting a Jeremy Corbyn party into the mix puts Nigel not only in number 10 Downing Street, but puts Reform north of 400 seats. I've always said we needed 350 to 400 seats to have the mandate needed to transform the country and reverse all of the damage that the Tories and Labour have done. Look, I think Jeremy Corbyn has terrible policies. He has awful ideas, but say what you will about the guy, he does have fans. Unlike Keir Starmer,
and also,
he does have people. He stands up for things that he believes in. As awful as those things are, he has a big presence on social media. So does Zara Sultana. I think this is a huge threat to Labour. And yes, look, I think it makes Nigel being in number 10 that much more likely.
Yeah, I mean, I've said what you just said there about Corbyn for the past couple of nights. You know, you may not. He's a massively raging commie and friends with whoever, but at least you know over the past 20 years what he stood for. Yeah. He's been authentic, whether you agree with his principles or not. You know what he stands for. When it comes to the Prime Minister, he doesn't believe in anything, so at least you can give Corbyn that. Finally, is Nigel going to be seeing President Trump over the next few days?
I won't speak for Nigel, but I will say this. Nigel, he's obviously very good friends with President Trump. He has gone out of his way to ensure he does not interfere with United Kingdom-US relations. He is, as he has said publicly many times, at the government's disposal, because he's a patriot, to do whatever he can to improve that relationship.
OK, great stuff. See you, Yusuf. Thank you very much. Appreciate your company. Until next time. Coming up, homeowners are being hit with unexpected six-figure tax bills from local councils after making improvements to their properties, with Jeremy Hunt slamming the levy as an outrageous property tax. One of the many homeowners affected joins me live in the studio in the next few minutes. This is Ben Leo Tonight, back in just a tick.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Juber, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Juber, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's News Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight. Now, several councils across England have been charging homeowners eye-watering tax bills for building extensions in a move that former Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has slammed as an outrageous property tax. Homeowners are being caught out by the Community Infrastructure Levy, with local councils charging those building family homes an extension or an annex, even in the garden, up to £180,000 each on top of the existing building costs and planning costs. And in some cases, the residents have no right to appeal against the charge and are handing over their pensions, borrowing money from relatives, remortgaging or having to sell their homes to pay the local authority what they owe. One of those homeowners affected is Steve Daly, who was hit with an unexpected tax bill of £67,000. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's insane. Just explain to us what building work you were doing, which council hit you with the bill, how did you feel, how did it all come around?
OK, so just to say, I'm a homeowner, I'm not a developer, I'm not a builder or anything else. We live in a 1960s dormer bungalow, which is getting on in age. We had an extension with leaky roof, etc. So we decided the only economic way forward was to demolish the old extension and just replace it.
Yeah.
Simply that. Applied for planning permission, did all the right things. Planning permission was granted. We then commenced building. It's an extension. It was completed in 3 to 4 months. 18 weeks later, what arrives through the door is a liability notice and a demand notice on the same day for £65,000, which then gets added to with surcharges and late interest payment and everything else. But when you receive that, unexpectedly, your life is devastated.
How did you pay it?
Well, we argued the case to start with. We couldn't pay it, so we agreed a repayment over 3 years. And then we decided, because there's a land charge put on your home, so this is a public notice now that you're in debt to the council, we decided to extend the mortgage and pay the council off through an interest-only mortgage. Oh. So that debt is still there today. We're still paying interest on it. And in 5 years' time, when the mortgage comes to an end, we'd have no options other than to sell the house. However, the council have now reviewed our case and agreed that it's errors, and they've agreed to repay us. That decision was taken 4 weeks ago. We still haven't been repaid.
So what was the error? And also, how big was the extension? Is this not for, say, extensions over 100 square metres or something
Absolutely
like that?
correct. Ours was less than 100 square metres and should have been automatically exempt. We knew nothing about SIL. We knew nothing about all the forms we needed to fill in. We shouldn't have needed to. But yet council error deemed that we'd started the work before planning had been granted, which it hadn't. But if the council deemed that, you lose any right of appeal.
So, anyway, you'll due your money back, which is great. Hopefully you can enjoy a nice holiday to relax after the stress of it. But even for extensions or building work which creates new internal areas over 100 square metres, why on earth should vulture-like councils be slapping people with these massive... I've never heard of this tax before.
No, but Ben, it's a postcode lottery. If we'd built our extension 30 metres down the road in Guildford, there is no SIL. If we'd built exactly the same extension in Sevenoaks, because of their charging rates, it would have been about £18,000. In Waverley, which is one of the highest charging rates in the country, at today's rates, the same extension would be £80,000. It's like the post office scandal. Councils have been given authority to raise taxes without any checks and balances put in place as to what is the consequences and the impact on those who are going to be affected, who in our case will be absolutely devastated. One guy in Waverley had a nervous breakdown. One family has already had to sell their homes to pay the debt. One guy who you'll see on the Sunday Times article has got a £94,000 debt, excluding late payment interest, whose house is on the market. And councils say, it's not our fault, it's the law. There's no discretion. It's just inflexible.
I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, council tax these days isn't even worth it. You know, my bins were collected once a week. Now they're collected every fortnight, and they're trying to do it once every 3 weeks. I mean, and the council tax goes up and up. You just feel like councils and local authorities are just fleecing hard-work people every corner they can. You're trying to graft, you're trying to crack on with life and do well for yourself, maybe leave something nice for your children. Then you get stung with inheritance tax. I could go on a massive rant all night. Steve, where can people find out more about this in case they are just about to start building work?
Well, if they want to contact us, if they email us at help@sil-injustice.co.uk, we'll help them. But can I just also say as well, there is one easy way to fix this, and Jeremy Hunter started the case. If Matthew Pennycook will only say, homeowners should be exempt, and councils should use discretions and be more pragmatic, it goes away.
OK, great stuff. Steve Daly, thank you very much. I'm glad you're getting your money back, but fingers crossed to everyone else affected by this vulturous tax that they have as much luck as well. Back in just a tick with the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. So Monday is looking a good deal brighter and warmer for many of us. There will still be a few showers around, but many of us will stay dry. And it's all courtesy of this large area of high pressure, the Azores high, ridging towards the UK on Monday. It doesn't last too long though. This frontal system will bring some rain once again by Tuesday. Back to Sunday evening though, and most of the showers are fading away, though some will continue overnight, particularly across the north and the west of Scotland, and some are also moving into parts of northwest England on that northwesterly wind. Out towards the east and the south though, the best of the clear skies here, so temperatures in the countryside falling into the high single figures in places, and a bit cooler for many compared to recent nights. It does mean, though, underneath those clearer skies, it will be a much sunnier start to the day compared to Sunday across the east and the south of England in particular. So temperatures quite quickly lifting in that strong July sunshine. A fine day for most of England and Wales, just one or two isolated showers. A few more in the way of showers through the morning across northern or western parts of Scotland. And here, there is still a bit of a breeze coming in from the Atlantic, so a little bit cooler here. But as we go through the course of the day, cloud amounts will vary, sunshine will come and go, but there will generally be a lot of dry weather on offer on Monday. A scattering of showers developing across England and Wales, but these mostly light and many places will stay dry. And generally in the best of sunshine, we could even see temperatures reaching highs of 24 or 25 Celsius across the south and the east, but certainly a warmer day nationwide and 18 to 20 degrees quite widely in the north of the UK too. For Tuesday, a cloudy and damp picture for many. Outbreaks of rain pushing northwest to southeast across the UK. A lot of low cloud, misty, murky conditions around the coast and over the higher ground. Some heavier showers developing perhaps later too. But generally an unsettled week to come. A mixture of sunshine and showers for many of us. But certainly those temperatures on the rise and feeling very warm and humid at times.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can win big, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? The holiday of a lifetime? Or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hello, good evening. It's 10 o'clock. I'm Ben Leo, and breaking tonight with the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, the Metro, there we go, leads with "You were rawsome." The Lionesses, England women, take Euros final to penalties and they win. Well done, ladies. Elsewhere, Princess Charlotte makes appearances at the Lionesses game with her dad, Prince William, at Euro 2025. We'll be discussing with Big Charlotte. That's the Mail on Sundays, Charlotte Griffiths, apparently. And Charlotte will also be revealing details of her exclusive on Prince Harry's latest attempt to return to the royal family. Elsewhere, British troops in Taiwan if war breaks out. That's what Defence Secretary John Healey has said. And by the way, I can't believe the audacity of the UK to think we could square up to China in a war to defend Taiwan. The island nation has been at loggerheads with China for years. And Mr Healey has said tonight, if we have to fight Australia and the UK, our nations, that we'll fight together. The latest on Epping, an Essex police chief has demanded an urgent meeting with Home Secretary Yvette Cooper. He says the asylum hotel where I've been today is in an inappropriate location for migrants. Will it be moved? Will it be closed down, finally? On our panel tonight, it's Conservative councillor Matthew Goodwin-Freeman, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and the former editor of Labour List, Peter Edwards. And what the hell is going on here? Good evening, thank you for your company. One front page has just dropped. It's the Metro. Let's take a look, and it actually pays tribute to England women, who tonight have become European champions after beating Spain on penalties in the final. Lionesses take Euros final to penalties. You've done us proud. You were rawsome. And yeah, there we go. Panel, welcome back. Chloe, ladies first. Seems appropriate. Pleased?
Of course. I mean, whenever this country wins something in football, it's certainly a big cause for celebration, because it's quite rare that it happens. Let's be honest. And well done to those ladies for winning on those penalty shootouts.
Yeah, Peter, I don't really want to talk about it now. It's not the right time. But there has been some debate this week. Some people coming on the channel saying that they just don't like women's football, think it's been shoved down their throat. I mean.
I don't know why they feel that. There's a lot of TV channels. I watched this day and greatly enjoyed it. Extra time and penalties, and I'm a big football fan. But if people want to watch something else, Countdown or the news or whatever, that's up to them. I want to say, I look at the Metro quite a bit, but this paper does show the challenge. I suspect this front page went to bed before they knew the result, because it's beautifully ambiguous. It says you've done us proud, which is true, but there's nowhere is the word win or trophy or champion. So this is, I've got every sympathy for the night news editor at Metro, but it's a beautifully ambiguous headline.
Are you suggesting the staff of the Metro clocked home at 6 o'clock and had the front page ready?
No, I suspect earlier print deadlines. It's the whole infrastructure.
Matthew?
Well, I think also, let's just say credit the Weetabix, who realised that, let's chuck ourselves onto the bottom of this. It's going to be the front page. I mean, maybe we should all be celebrating with a bowl of Weetabix. It's breakfast soon, so we'll get bowls. I mean, look, congratulations to the Lionesses. They've won the Euros again for I think it's the second time back-to-back reigning champions. Brilliant. I was out in the square watching it on the big screen. It was great fun. Another trophy to the England cabinet. Well done to the women. Come on, the men.
Yep, well done, ladies. No, why did you say that?
Because we've got to start winning something.
You can't compare. I'm not going to get into it now, because they've won the competition.
I'm just saying, let's, Come on, men, let's win the football.
You're trying to goad me into a debate on women's football, but I'm not going to do it, because the women did great tonight. The penalties were amazing, so well done, England women. Right, let's get on to more serious matters. apparently British troops will be in Taiwan if war breaks out. That's according to Defence Secretary John Healey. The island nation's been at loggerheads with China for years, of course, and Mr Healey has said in tomorrow's papers, if we have to fight with Australia and the UK... Sorry, let me just get this quote right. If we have to fight, Australia and the UK are nations that will fight together. There we go, missing a crucial comma. If we have to fight, Australia and the UK are nations that will fight together. It just seems bizarre, Peter, that for a nation like the UK, and I love our armed forces, but, you know, let's be real, we are understaffed and under-equipped at the moment because of consecutive governments of different colours, that we have the audacity to think we could go toe-to-toe with China.
But Ben, you're not daft, despite our differing views, and you get the idea of a deterrent. You know, just like, you know.
So what's the deterrent?
We don't want. Obviously, it's hard to conceive we'd ever use Trident, but it's a deterrent. What John Healey says, Defence Secretary, is intended as a deterrent. It seems a perfectly logical thing to say.
So it threatens to nuke the CCP?
No, I think that's the opposite of what he said, isn't it?
Well, you're talking about a deterrent.
Yeah, so...
You're saying we have Trident. You're saying we should threaten to nuke China.
No, I did not say that at all. I said you get the concept of a deterrent. So we have a nuclear deterrent, and we have a standard military deterrent. And he's saying Britain is a strong country that can defend itself with allies like Australia. You get the concept of a deterrent.
Right. So you think... OK, look, I'm not a military expert, but I know roughly the numbers from both countries. I mean, there's more small boat migrants have come to this country in the past, I'd say, 24 months. Then we have personnel in the British Army. So you think Australia and the UK could square up to China?
No, and that is not the point that John Healey is making either. I think anyone who's of sound mind wants to avoid war, because war is devastating, as we're seeing around the world. And I think by using strong language as he has done, the idea is you're going to encourage a hostile state, and China is one, to de-escalate.
Yeah, and we'll do that at the same time as threatening Russia as well and getting involved in Ukraine. Is that right, Matthew?
Well, I think what would be really interesting...
This whole thing just seems absurd, sorry.
Yeah, I think what would be really interesting is if this comes up tomorrow when Keir Starmer and Donald Trump speak, because much of the world basically follows whatever the US says. So if the US, obviously in a difficult position with Taiwan and China anyway, I think that could be the telltale. What happens in the coming hours, what happens tomorrow with the US and with Keir Starmer and, you know, Donald Trump and their conversation. I would not want to be getting into a war on the other side of the world with Taiwan, against China. I don't think that's in Britain's interest. I don't think it's the right thing for us to be doing. But unfortunately, we're not the ones pulling the levers.
Chloe, John Healey said we exercise together, Australia, and by exercising together and being more ready to fight, we deter better together. What does that even mean? I'm sorry, I'm so sick of this kind of wishy-washy language.
That to me sounds like a word salad, to use that phrase we would use to describe Kamala Harris. That is very confusing, and the fact that he can't even put his English together doesn't suggest he's putting out a strong threat against China. I think that Matthew is right, that what Trump says will be far more important, because even if the UK says, China, if you muck about, we'll get involved, China is only realistically going to be worried about that if they think that, A, we're going to follow up on our word, and B, we've actually got a military that is capable of taking them down. And ultimately, Trump and America, they've got a far more powerful military than we do. So I think what Trump says will really, really matter.
Let me just read you that quote in full, because it's been making me laugh. So John Healey was speaking on a visit to HMS Prince of Wales, docked in Australia at the moment, in Darwin, with the country's Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister, Richard Marles. So John Healey, our Defence Secretary, told The Telegraph during, blah, 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 if we have to fight, as we've done in the past, Australia and the UK are nations that will fight together. Fine. We exercise together, and by exercising together and being more ready to fight, we deter better together. Is it just me who thinks that's just a complete insane...
I'm not sure if he's trying to write a poem or something.
You're talking... He's trying to...
And get some rhyming in there. I don't know what he's trying to do.
I respect John Healey.
It's quite embarrassing that someone in such a big role, in such a high position of power, can't actually put a sentence together.
But Alden, what's wrong with the substance of what he said? The idea that you...
We can understand it. That's the problem.
We get the point that he's trying to make, but it's just so messy and clumsy. It's a word salad. It looks like something that Kamala Harris would have wrote.
It's not even that. It's not even the fact it's word salad.
That's a grievous insult, because Kamala Harris did have quite a few word salads, didn't she?
It's not just the word salad. It's the rhetoric of thinking you can go to war with China.
No, it's about avoiding war. It's about avoiding war
with something as inane as that.
No, but Ben, you understand a deterrent. It's about avoiding war. You talk tough to avoid a war.
That's not talking tough, though.
It's not also not a deterrent.
That's not talking tough. The problem with that is, as we said, it's a word salad. It's not inspirational. It's not scaring anybody. It's literally just spewing words as they come out your mouth and you think of them and you don't think first about how it's going to sound. If you read it, it sounds like he's trying to be this inspirational, you know, wartime, we're going to be inspirational, we will work with our allies, we will defend British sovereignty and British interests with Australia, hand in hand, we exercise together. I'm sorry, but he just lost the plot. Someone should have written him a speech and he read it out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know, I apologise. I don't know why that's wound me up so much, but you're talking about going to war potentially with China, probably the nation's strongest superpower, aside from the US. You know, there's an argument there. And you're justifying it in a newspaper article with quotes like that. It just doesn't mean anything. It's totally inane. Makes sense.
Well,
you've got enough resources at your disposal. You've got comms experts. You've got great writers. You've got skilled, talented staff. Makes sense. Anyway, let's move on. Kemi Badenoch has said that the Tories would ban doctors from going on strike. Peter, this comes, of course, off the back of the BMA threatening. Well, they've started their strike, haven't they?
The Tories won't, and Kemi Badenoch won't, and I suspect this intervention will be a footnote in history. Whether Kemi Badenoch makes it to the next general election leader, I don't know. But, you know, for clarity, so the police are trade unionised, but they can't go on strike, and military, as I understand it, don't have a trade union and definitely can't go on strike. So she's proposing to put NHS staff or one cohort of NHS staff in the same bucket as police officers who have a federation but can't go on strike. But it's not going to happen. Public support for the junior doctor strikes has diminished. We all know that. But it's around about 33, 34% at the moment. But Kemi Badenoch, like any leader of the opposition, to be fair, and I've got some sympathy for her, is desperately trying to find attention politically at a time when the Tories lost very heavily and, you know, agonise over whether they're going to be consigned to irrelevance. I think this is just, you know, her railing against the tide of irrelevance.
Chloe, your take?
Well, I think that Kemi Badenoch sounded pretty hypocritical this morning when she went on Camilla Tomney's show and said that Nigel Farage is like Corbyn with a pint, essentially making the point that Farage is just saying what he needs to win votes and win support. And when you hear all these things coming out of the Conservatives saying, we do this, we do that, but they never did it when they were in power, it's kind of the same thing, just saying what you think will get you more support now, even when you didn't do any of it when you were in power. If she genuinely believes that, why wasn't she pushing for that whilst the Conservatives were in power? I know she wasn't leader of the party, but she could have been pushing for it. Yeah. When you had doctors striking, causing the NHS waiting list to go up, whilst the Conservatives were still in power.
And Matthew, so yeah, Kemi was on Camilla Tomney's GB News show this morning. It was a great interview from Camilla. And as Chloe just said, Kemi described Nigel Farage as Jeremy Corbyn with a pint and a cigarette, which for me is a rather interesting insult, because as I just said to Zia Youssef, Reform's guy who was in a moment ago, I said, look, of course, I'm miles away from Jeremy Corbyn's politics, but at least you know what he stands for. He's authentic in his own principles. He has been so for 20 years. Same with Nigel Farage. He's been saying the same damn thing for 20 years. So for me, that kind of sounds like an insult gone wrong. It's not really an insult.
Well, I think, you know, Chloe's hit the nail on the head. The frustration is we've just come out of 14 years in government. There are so many things now that we're talking about that we could have, should have, really should have done when in government and didn't. It's always that question of how long do you give it after an election before you start saying, right, OK, if we got the chance again, we would fix this, we would do this, we would have done that, you know, should have. I think she's, you know, Kemi's trying to talk about something that's going on at the moment, the BMA strike. I mean, remember, these junior doctors got 22% pay rise last year. They want 29% this year. You know, support is going down and down for them. But, you know, I wouldn't criticise someone for talking about something going on at the moment, but it's a fair challenge. We didn't do it in government. We got kicked out of government. We have now, as a party, got to go and come up with our promises, come up with our solutions, and hold our hands up and say, do you know what? We didn't do it. We should have done it. If we get a chance again, we will do it. And I think that's what she was trying to do.
When you keep saying we, Matthew, are you a Tory member?
Well, I'm a Conservative councillor and a member of the Conservative Party.
Sorry, apologies, of course. So do you think Kemi will be leading you into the next election?
I don't see there being a leadership challenge anytime soon, no.
Really?
Yeah, well, because the point is that that's not going to do the Conservative Party any good.
What about the polling? I mean, the polling's pretty dire.
You're telling me I know, absolutely. I mean, I you know, during the election, I ran our campaign and we were the only Conservative victory to increase our majority. So, you know, I get it. My frustration is looking from, as a small cog, a local councillor, right on a local level, looking at the party structure and trying to get things done is incredibly difficult. But, yeah, I think, let's be fair, we hold our hands up. The Conservative Party lost. We messed up government. We're not in government anymore. And the Conservative Party has got to pick itself up and come up with some policies pretty soon. Otherwise, I completely agree, we will be destined to the history books.
That's true. Kemi Badenoch has been saying for the last year, oh, I'm not going to just pump out a load of policies to please people because I need to think about them. It's like, you've had a year to think about them. Give us something.
Well, no, so...
Rather than, I mean, they told us we're going to have a report about whether we're going to leave the CHR, that's about it.
I believe that party conference this October is when the Conservative Party is going to be starting to unveil policies, positions, platforms, things like that. I get it. I completely agree. I was saying right early on, we need to be getting out there with what we'd have done, holding our hands up, saying we messed this up, we'd fix it. If we're getting there in October, fine. It's slower than I would want, but as I said, I'm not the one pulling the levers.
Party conferences are also the place where people run around like headless chickens figuring out how they're going to topple the current leader. So I expect that's what they'll be doing, is figuring out how they're going to get rid of Kemi and who's going to be in next, rather than coming up with any substance.
OK, interesting. Let us know what you think at home on those topics. gbnews.com/your say. I'm hoping more front pages will drop imminently so I can share them with you, but so far it's just the Metro. You were awesome. Well done, England ladies. Right, before we go to the break and get more papers, it's the final week to see how you could win £54,321, 54321 in our Great British Giveaway. Lines close on Friday, August the 1st, which I think is next week. Is it next week?
I think
it's next week. It is. Here's all the details you need to win.
It's the final week to see how you could win big. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Lines close at 4 p.m. this Friday, so make sure you don't miss out.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, good luck to you. Now, in a rare move, Prince Harry has offered to share his schedule with the royal family. Do they care? Hoping to ease tensions and reconnect with King Charles. Prince William's team may, meanwhile, be looped in for the first time. So is a royal reunion on the horizon? Editor-at-large at The Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths joins me live in the studio next. This is Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Now imagine this. You spend your entire life dreaming of public service. You work your way up to become the Director of Public Prosecutions. You then become a Member of Parliament, and just next to your constituency is a world-famous museum hosting
I'm imagining it, Tom.
waxworks of famous figures, and you think, you dream that one day you will be featured in this mausoleum, for want of a better word. You become Prime Minister and you think, now, finally, my waxwork will be on display at the world-famous Madame Tussauds. And then they say no.
And then you find out that Theresa May has one.
Oh.
Yes, so Madame Tussauds, there's Theresa May. There she is in her suit.
Yeah,
she was always one for colourful outfits.
Theresa May has a waxwork there, so does Boris Johnson, of course. It's reasonable to expect the Prime Minister would have thought that he would join the likes of David Cameron, Theresa May and Boris Johnson with a waxwork.
Winston Churchill. Yeah. Winston Churchill has one. Harold Macmillan apparently was previously displayed. Tony Blair.
Of course.
Tony Blair, of course. But apparently, so Madame Tussauds can't be sure that he'll still be relevant in 5 years' time. That's the reason.
Is that why they've said it? No.
They can't be sure, so they don't want to put the money into it, presumably.
Wow.
I could imagine Keir Starmer commissioning his own.
And yet, Lord Salisbury had a waxwork, the Marquis of Salisbury, Harold Macmillan, David Lloyd George, of course. But the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland...
Think about this.
...does not have a waxwork because he's not relevant.
A spokesperson told the Metro, "We have no current plans to make a figure of the British Prime Minister."
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. Time for a bit of royal news from the top scoop getter, I call you, Charlotte, at the Mail on Sunday, editor-at-large, because a significant step towards a royal reconciliation could be on the horizon. Prince Harry has extended an olive branch to the royal family by offering to share his official schedule with them, aiming to avoid future clashes such as his Angola trip overshadowing Queen Camilla's birthday portrait. The move's been described as a significant gesture, and it comes after private talks between the Sussex and Palisades, and for the first time, Prince William's team may be looped in, and sources say Harry is focused on reconnecting with King Charles, hoping for a face-to-face meeting later this year. And of course, Charlotte Griffiths, this is your big exclusive in the Mail on Sunday today. Great story. Just explain what's going on. Interesting point as well that William could be involved.
Yeah, so, well, what happened was, you know that balcony meeting that's now sort of infamous? The very next day, or was it the day after the next day, Harry was in Angola, and it was Camilla's birthday, and it knocked Camilla's birthday off the front pages. All the front pages had Diana on, because, of course, he was recreating Diana's footsteps. This is exactly the kind of thing the royal family cannot stand.
Was that intentional? Sorry, was that intentional?
I don't know if it was intentional. I think with the Sussexes, things mostly are.
He did call her, what, wicked stepmother?
Yeah, I think he had to realise that Tuesday was Camilla's birthday.
They're not stupid,
and they released a portrait. So the problem with Harry having left the royal family for the royal family is that they can't control him anymore, and they don't know what he's doing, and they seem to always strategically release these, you know, Instagram pictures or Meghan meeting somebody, always when Catherine's doing something or Camilla's doing something. So by sharing his schedule, which is what I'm revealing in today's paper, he's finally saying, look, I'll stop these horrible clashes. And so it seems like just a small thing, sharing your diary, but actually in royal world, it's a major step. Because it means they will... I mean, they can't stop Camilla's birthday being on the date that it is, but they can manage around it. And he just becomes a slightly more containable figure, slightly. And at the moment, he's a loose cannon.
OK, that's interesting. So basically, he's saying, look, I'll put it out there, I think they do that stuff deliberately, Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, I think
you see it all the time.
Do.
You see Catherine doing something nice with a charity, and then Meghan will release some picture of her and Lilibet, you know, on Instagram, completely over. It happens all the time, and it's not by chance at all. So basically, Harry is saying, look, I'll stop being a bugger and play ball.
Yeah, basically. And on the William thing, he's not going to give the grid, it's called, directly to William, but he's giving it to the King, to Buckingham Palace, to the King's aides, and then they are going to pass it down to William.
It always makes me laugh, Charlotte, how we talked last week or 2 weeks ago about how there was talks between the aides of King Charles and his son Harry. It always makes me laugh how you've got this family, you've got the father, you've got a couple of brothers and whatever else. You always have to go through the aides and the schedulers and the diarists and stuff, just like your family members, just pick up the phone and say, hey, I'll give you my diary if you want. Let's share it on the iPhone or something.
Yeah, that would involve a conversation between Harry and his father doesn't trust his son enough to have a direct conversation.
So if that's the case, so if the king can't even trust his own son to have a conversation, how on earth and how the hell are they going to be reconciling?
Well, they're building up to that. They are building up to that. At the moment, the security issue is still up in the air, and that's the big thing that Charles can't talk to his son about. He's worried that if he just picks up the phone and has a little chat, Harry will start going, and what about my security? And that's actually, you know, it's got legal implications.
Sure.
So, but that's why I'm told it's a glacial pace that they're building up to actually seeing each other face to face. Glacial. Because, you know, Harry's hoping for September. He's coming over to the UK in September. He's hoping to meet his dad there, but there's no chance. They need more time, and that's classic Buckingham Palace. They move so slowly, and as you say, everything's so formal, it has to go through aides. So I think they'll probably meet maybe by Christmas, more likely next year.
Will Meghan be there?
No.
No. Is that one of the conditions, you think? Meghan stays away?
I don't know if it's a condition. I think it's an implicit condition, not an explicit condition.
OK, well, look, talking of Meghan, moving on to a slightly different story. A body language expert says Prince William acted as a human shield, Charlotte, between Meghan Markle and Catherine at a 2018 RAF event, possibly shielding tensions as early signs of their royal rift began to show. We're going to see it in just a second. Talk us through this.
I love these videos. They do so well for the Mail Online, and this was on the Mail Online because they've all resurfaced now in hindsight. Look, there he is. Look. He makes sure, very protective of his wife. I mean, it's very heroic. He's gone up in my estimations. What this is, and there's lots of these videos around. There's another one of him straightening his tie because Meghan keeps trying to talk to him and he's pretending that he's got an emergency with his tie, so he's staring at his tie, but of course he didn't. And what it is in retrospect, we look back at these times knowing how much they absolutely viscerally hated each other, and we realise that they were avoiding each other in plain sight, and we just didn't spot it. Because
visceral hatred, sorry to dive in, is perhaps a bit over the top. I mean, clearly the tensions are enormous, and you'll know about these more than I, but isn't it just courteous if a group of people, one or two join, and you all adjust your position, and you probably want to continue standing next to your wife? That's kind of courteous.
I think it's a cold, hard block. I'm sorry, if they were getting on, he'd put an arm around Meghan and usher Meghan towards his wife, and then they'd embrace each other.
You don't see royals putting each arm around each other. That's not the way they operate, is it?
Well, they do these days.
Cuddle each other like blokes in a pub.
But he might do that kind of non-contact sort of ushering of the two.
There's lots of politics in the usher, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. For example, with Sophie Wessex. Sophie Wessex and Catherine get on like a house on fire, and they're always sort of gesturing towards each other and, you know, cuddling up together.
Can we see that clip one more time? I'll tell you what I would have done if I was William, is just step back. So if I was trying to be courteous and just make sure Meghan was included, I'd step back to be next to Harry. But no, I think it's a deliberate block to shield Catherine from Meghan.
Definitely, yeah.
You could look one more time. Step back and then step next to your brother. No, I'm going to get in there for my wife.
Then he might have blocked Meghan Markle, and that would be seen as a rugby tackle or something. He played a very difficult situation with some tact.
But the body language expert reviewed his mouth movements. Now, this is how technical you get in royal commentary.
Like a game of chess.
Apparently, he was sort of really pinching his lips together, and this is a sign of not being very happy and all that kind of stuff.
I don't blame him. Team William all the way.
It's a great sport.
Another slight blow as well, Charlotte, for Harry and Meghan. Poor sales of Meghan's As Ever products, well, it's the wine, actually, which have been called a nail in the coffin for their $100 million Netflix deal. As insiders say, demand is low and interest in the couple's fading fast. Is that true?
Well, I did read that piece, and I looked online, and her wine sold out. I mean, at least it's got a sold-out label on it. So no wonder people are buying it.
That's a classic marketing tactic, is always say you're sold out because scarcity brings value.
I've always thought that was the case. It's always suspicious to me how quickly Meghan's products sell out. And I have tried the wine. It does taste very normal. I mean, it just tastes like
she just buys a cheap one and buys a label.
Sticks another label on it.
I mean, it's been revealed, but you can buy the same tea for a third of the price. Yeah. She's bought that tea from someone else and just put a different label on it.
Yes, but
she didn't grow it in her garden.
This is a really good point, Chloe, because actually the deal technically isn't dead because Netflix are about to open loads of malls in America. Right. And their big expansion, Netflix's big expansion plans, is to sell food, merch, all that kind of stuff under its own mall umbrella. Now, Meghan's teas and honeys and jams and wine are all made basically by Netflix, and then they slap a label off on top. And so they're actually not going to end the deal with Meghan for this reason, because they're tied up in all this food stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, they're renegotiating the deal at the moment. I don't think she's going to get another $100 million deal, that is for sure. And I don't even think it will be particularly television related, although there is one more series of her show with Love Meghan due to come out. But that's only because it was filmed already with the first one. But anyway, long story short, the Netflix deal actually isn't over completely. It's being renegotiated at the moment. But they've all signed NDAs, so it hasn't come out. So I think those that don't like Meghan will be disappointed to hear.
Well, I, for one...
She's still going strong.
Yeah, I, for one, can't wait to watch the latest Meghan offering on Netflix. Really, really excited.
I'll be watching paint dry, so I don't know if I can
I think I've got my tooth being extracted that day.
Let's talk about a royal which I am more fond of, Princess Charlotte. She was at the football tonight, Charlotte. And I know what...
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not going to say. At the top of the show, there was some script in the autocue. It said Big Charlotte and Little Charlotte, and I read Big Charlotte referring to you, and I was thinking, who the hell is Big Charlotte? It means you, obviously, because Little Charlotte was at the football today.
I'm the original princess.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, Queen Charlotte.
There she is. She looks older, doesn't she?
She looks so grown up. She's 10 now. Wow. But she's just looking... I mean, may I say gorgeous? Is that appropriate for a 10-year-old? But she looks beautiful. Like, she's clearly going to be like her mother. She's stunning. And it was so nice to see her today with her dad. Of course, as the girl of the family, she's got to be at the football with her dad, chairman of the FA. And
was George there?
No, George. No.
Oh.
And I think she was there, you know, replacing Catherine, as it were. You know, they were kind of there together.
Where was Catherine?
Engagement.
Any ideas?
I think they might be on holiday in Europe, but I'm not sure.
Not watching Meghan's show on Netflix?
Definitely not watching that. Blocked both physically and...
Should we look at the front page of The Sun, talking of the football? So this is the Sun front page that's in tomorrow. The hand of God. So goalie Hannah Hampton was England's penalties hero, with 2 saves to see the Lionesses roar to glory over Spain tonight. Well, last night. They won their historic victory 3 years after winning Euro 2022. As Matthew said at the last hour, back-to-back wins. Are you proud of the England ladies? Are you into women's football?
Of course I am. Do you know what? I was listening to it in the car on the way here, and I was thinking, I don't really care about football, but I'll listen to this shootout. And then I did a massive whoop in the car, and it came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was just so exciting. I've just never heard... I mean, I know they have won before, but I've never heard live England win at anything in my lifetime, anyway.
Wow.
And I was thinking of Charlotte being there and how exciting it'd be for her.
Yeah.
As the girl of the family there with her dad. It's a pretty cool thing to see.
Was it you that told me George plays tennis?
Yeah, they all play tennis. Charlotte's really good at tennis.
Charlotte's really good?
Yeah. They're really sporty because Catherine's super into sport and very competitive.
Yeah. Before we move on to the break, should we look at some more front pages? To be honest, they are pretty much all on the same theme, celebrating England women's big win tonight. Should we look at what's first, the Express? Oh, sorry, the Metro. There we go. You were awesome. You were awesome. There we go. And a nice Weetabix advert at the bottom there. Other wheat biscuits are available. The Express. Lionesses roar to victory. England bring Euro 2025 home after beating Spain in tense penalty shootout. The Telegraph. Trump, wind power is a con job. This is the president's, let's call it an obsession with windmills, as he calls it. I think it's a justified one. President condemns windmills blighting the landscape before sealing trade deal with EU leader. And a great snap there of Chloe Kelly celebrating after scoring the winning penalty in England's final tonight. And by the way, what a penalty it was. I watched it in the studio getting ready for this show tonight. It was an absolute whopper. And what's next? The Eye. Sorry, the Sun. Here we go. The hand of God. Goalie Hannah Hampton was England's penalties hero with 2 saves as the Lionesses. She saved, a great brace of penalties. And the Eye. Another one of England, the champions again in an incredible show of defiance. There's Chloe Kelly kissing the trophy. And the Daily Mail, maybe we'll discuss this after the break panel. Now shut migrant protest hotel. As demonstrators clash again in Epping, I was there today, Tories demands that Labour listen to local concerns and move asylum seekers. But where would they go? We'll discuss that after the break, I think. I mean, you're just going to be shifting them from one town to another, and it's going to be some other poor community dealing with it. We're going to be crossing to Spain imminently after the break to speak to a football expert about England's win. But for now, back in just a tick with more front pages.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. So Monday is looking a good deal brighter and warmer for many of us. There will still be a few showers around, but many of us will stay dry. And it's all courtesy of this large area of high pressure, the Azores high, ridging towards the UK on Monday. It doesn't last too long though. This frontal system will bring some rain once again by Tuesday. Back to Sunday evening though, and most of the showers are fading away, though some will continue overnight, particularly across the north and the west of Scotland, and some also moving into parts of northwest England on that northwesterly wind. Out towards the east and the south though, the best of the clear skies here, so temperatures in the countryside falling into the high single figures in places, and a bit cooler for many compared to recent nights. It does mean, though, underneath those clearer skies, it will be a much sunnier start to the day compared to Sunday across the east and the south of England in particular. So temperatures quite quickly lifting in that strong July sunshine. A fine day for most of England and Wales, just one or two isolated showers. A few more in the way of showers through the morning across northern and western parts of Scotland. And here, there is still a bit of a breeze coming in from the Atlantic, so a little bit cooler here. But as we go through the course of the day, cloud amounts will vary. Sunshine will come and go, but there will generally be a lot of dry weather on offer on Monday. A scattering of showers developing across England and Wales, but these mostly light and many places will stay dry. And generally in the best of sunshine, we could even see temperatures reaching highs of 24 or 25 Celsius across the south and the east, but certainly a warmer day nationwide and 18 to 20 degrees quite widely in the north of the UK too. For Tuesday, a cloudy and damp picture for many. Outbreaks of rain pushing northwest to southeast across the UK. A lot of low cloud, misty, murky conditions around the coast and over the higher ground. Some heavier showers developing perhaps later too. But generally an unsettled week to come. A mixture of sunshine and showers for many of us. But certainly those temperatures on the rise and feeling very warm and humid at times.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, only on GB News. As we've been discussing, England's Lionesses have retained their European Championship title after a tense penalty shootout win over Spain earlier this evening. And those are scenes from Box Park at Wembley this evening. Ecstatic supporters were seen standing on tables, waving flags, throwing drinks in the air, hopefully it was just drink, and excitedly hugging each other at fan zones all across the country as England claimed victory. Spain took the lead in the first half, but England, defiant as ever, we came back soon into the second to make it 1-1, and the match went on to penalties, where Chloe Kelly, who adorns all the front pages tomorrow, scored the winning spot kick, and it was an absolute whopper, as I've said, after two huge saves from England goalkeeper Hannah Hampton. Joined now live from Spain by former referee and FIFA official Janie Frampton. Janie, good evening. Thank you for joining us. What's your take on the match tonight? It was pretty exciting, wasn't it? Into extra time, tense, and then, of course, the penalty shootout.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying it was actually quite a good game to start with. I thought we came out, we played at a great tempo. And by the way, Ben, I was watching it in a bar in Spain, so it was probably the best place to watch it.
Yes. What were the locals like?
Oh, they were great, actually. There was a good mix of both. And Spain were great because they had the upper hand throughout the game. I mean, you look at the possession, and we only had 35% possession to 65% Spain. So they had smiles all over their faces, literally.
Yeah.
But we did show our grit and determination, you know, to come back. And this is what we do. We tend to start not quite so well in a tournament, and each game gets better and better. But they do actually, they have your grip sometimes, this England side, and it really is a challenge. And of course, the penalties, well, they gave us even more to think about.
Yeah, they say, don't they, that champions are made when you win games when you're not playing particularly well, when you can manage to find ways to win, maybe 1-0 or win ugly. That, you know, that is the mark of a champion.
It is, Ben, and it's that staying power, and it's that, you know, continuing to really battle hard when the chips are down. And that's exactly what happened all game. The chips were down. We were behind on everything, on passes, successful passes, you know, the amount of passes in our own final third. Everything was against us in the stats, absolutely everything. Yet we still battled on.
Yeah, no, it was great to see. And just tell us about Hannah Hampton, the England goalkeeper. Do you know much about her? Because it was her first tournament after Mary Earps, the old keeper, was out of the squad. And she stepped back, Mary Earps. Hannah Hampton, there was a medical issue which she overcame to wear the #1 jersey, wasn't there? Do you know what that was?
I don't know, and I think that's been quite a guarded secret. But I will say I thought she was excellent tonight all the way through, because there was 2 or 3 real hard shots she had to save throughout the game, and she did really well. And I feel really sad for Mary Earps, because there's always a point when you have to step aside for a new goalkeeper to come in, and to be #2 after you've been such a successful #1 is tough. But we've got an amazing goalkeeper now as well, you know, carrying the baton, if you like, from Mary Earps and continuing it with such strength.
Yeah, definitely. If we can look at the front page of The Sun, if we can get it up, Hannah Hampton's there saving one of the penalties tonight. In the Mail tomorrow, Janie, there's some great colour about Hannah's past. Of course, Mary Earps stepped back. She took the #1 spot as the goalkeeper. But the medical condition described in the Mail, which I think Hannah's spoken about, was an eye condition which really sort of didn't help her ability to judge depth. And doctors told her not to play sports. So the fact that she got through that and has become England's goalkeeping hero tonight is another little nice anecdote which, you know, really warms the heart.
Oh, that's great, Ben. You know, goalkeepers are tremendous. I think they're either, you know, incredibly talented or incredibly stupid. I don't know quite which. I used to play centre half when I played, and I used to have a great relationship with my goalkeeper because you had to control it from the back. So to get really good goalkeepers in women's football now is brilliant, because it was always our weakest link, always.
And just finally, tell us what this will do for the women's game in England.
I think it's tremendous. You know, the last time they won the Euros, you know, it really put a marker in the sand. And the amount of people now that are watching, I see there was a record crowd for a women's Euros today, which was 65,000. You know, I was involved in Women's World Cup in Germany, for example, in 2011, when we had a record crowd opening game of 71,000. You know, these are amazing numbers now we're seeing of people going to watch women's football. And it's great to watch. And people are realising that more and more, which they didn't realise before. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so much progress. Janie, thank you so much. What are you celebrating with? Sangria tonight?
Oh, yeah, something similar.
All right, well, have one on me. I can't drink at the moment, but I think, yeah, if I was with you, I'd probably get stuck into a sangria. Why not? A bit of tapas as well.
I'll have one for you, Ben.
Thank you, Janie. Enjoy. See you soon. Thanks. Right, stick with us on Ben Leo tonight. We're going to be talking about this, the Daily Mail front page. The migrant hotel in Epping has been urged to close and shut down. Tory ministers getting involved with those calls. But the big question is, and we're going to be discussing this on the panel, where the hell are the migrants going to go? They're just going to be shoved into another village, another town for the community there to deal with. Isn't the bigger question, or the bigger need, for, well, A, to stop the boats in the first place, but B, if they get here, put them in detention centres. Why should they be allowed to roam our communities, roam our streets, and put our, quite frankly, women and children at risk? Back in just a sec.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're holidaying across Europe at the moment, conditions are quite varied depending on where you're going. For Iberia, it's fine and settled with some warm sunshine, though a few showers across parts of the Pyrenees. Some heavier showers and thunderstorms developing around the Alps and down through the Balkan regions as well. The heat wave that we've had across the eastern Mediterranean recently is beginning to ease, and so it's a touch fresher for Greece now, but parts of Turkey could hold on to the heat until later on next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Back in 2015, Thornton and Cleveley's resident Emma Shepherd noticed the grass in her garden wasn't growing. Within months, she had to put down Alfie, one of her beloved dogs who had developed throat cancer. Just weeks later, she developed a lesion on her back, which would later be diagnosed as skin cancer. She knew then that something wasn't right.
I wasn't really aware of the history of the ICI site when I took the property. I did so much investigation. I had the ground tested with my own money. There was high levels of metals in there and some obviously cancerous carcinogenics in there. They actually nicknamed me Erin Brockovich because I was so all over it.
Last year, a joint investigation was launched by the Environment Agency and the local council. That was following the discovery of PFOA, a man-made chemical that potentially causes cancer. Both parties told GB News they are now working together on this matter, whilst the company under investigation for the potential release of the substance had this to say. AGC Chemicals Europe sets the highest standards for itself and takes its commitments to the local community and to the environment extremely seriously. They added that they voluntarily phased out the use of PFOA in the UK by early 2012. Release of the substance was within the permits held by AGC Chemicals Europe at the time and also UK legislation in place at the time. And yet, 2 months ago, residents within a kilometre of the site received this letter from the council, advising them not to consume anything grown in their gardens due to potential PFOA contamination.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Ben Leo tonight. Let's go through the front papers again, starting with the Daily Mirror. The headline reads, Lion Yesses, champions again and history made in penalty drama. Well done again, England ladies. The Times, a nice picture there of the ladies on the pitch celebrating tonight, but the headline for the news story is Starmer to press Trump on Gaza. The Prime Minister hopes President Trump will urge Benjamin Netanyahu to increase aid. The Metro, you were rawsome. The Daily Express, Lionesses roar to victory. And just at the top there, Trump tees up Starmer talks with EU deal. The Daily Telegraph, Donald Trump, wind power is a con job. The president condemns windmills blighting landscape before sealing trade deal with the EU. We'll discuss that in a second. The Sun, the hand of God. Goalie Hannah Hampton was England's penalties hero with 2 saves as England roared to victory. The Eye, Queens of Europe. There's England player Chloe Kelly, who thumped in a penalty tonight, kissing the trophy. And the Daily Mail, now shut migrant protest hotel. Demonstrators clash in Epping again. To be honest, I was there today. They didn't really clash. There was a few little bits of shouting and abuse, but they didn't really clash physically. Tories demands that Labour listen to local concerns and move asylum seekers. Very quickly, let's look at the front page of the Daily Telegraph. Donald Trump calling windmills, as he calls them, or wind power, a con job. We've got a clip in just a second, but Matthew, what's your take on this?
Well, I think actually Trump's just annoyed by the view being ruined by wind turbines.
So
if you read it, he's saying, you know, where is it? It's probably the best course I have in the world. And then I look over the horizon, I see 9 windmills at the end of the 18th. I said, isn't it a shame? I mean, really, he's just wanting to stand there playing his round of golf and see the beautiful sea and the views. And he's a bit more annoyed by having the wind turbines on the horizon.
Well, I've seen him talk about this on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he makes a couple of arguments. So first of all, he says that there are a load of cases of whales suddenly dropping dead if there are wind turbines near them. I don't know if there's much evidence of that or if that is just based on anecdotes. The other thing he said is that underneath these wind turbines, it's just like a graveyard of dead birds everywhere because they're all being hit by the wind turbines. But apparently the RSPB, they say, actually, no, this is rubbish, and birds are pretty good at seeing where they're going and moving around it. But I've never been myself and looked at the floor below a wind turbine and seen if there's a load of dead birds or not. So, but that's his argument.
Well, also, his bigger point is, Charlotte, that I mean, wind energy is funded with massive subsidies. And also, the whale thing. I love whales, FYI, a bit of a secret, I'm a whale superfan. And they have been found in some studies to affect sonar of marine mammals and wildlife.
Yeah, and he's also saying that when the blades go into the ground afterwards, their fiberglass is somehow bad for the soil. And you were saying earlier that also there's just great big fields of discarded blades.
The problem with the blades is obviously, you know, they can't at the moment be recycled or crushed down to be turned into anything. So sort of when they reach the end of their lifespan, they're just discarded across the country.
It is about the subsidies, though, Ben. You're right. You know, this is the man that said "drill, baby, drill" 6 months ago. I mean, it's clearly that's what it's about. I mean, not that, you know, we're drilling for oil per se here, but that's his mindset over in the States. And he's worried about wind turbines in the States. He was saying earlier, you know, we don't want our Great Plains of America to be covered in these wind turbines.
Yeah, Peter, he said, Donald Trump, the whole thing is a con job. It's very expensive, and in all fairness, Germany tried it, and wind doesn't work. He said it made no sense to subsidise energy projects like wind farms. He added, with energy, you make money, you don't lose money. But more important than that, it ruins the landscape, he said. It kills the birds. He also said that windmills were driving whales loco.
Trump. This is a challenge for politicians meeting Trump as well as newspaper editors. That, you know, for the last 100 years, politicians would choose their words carefully. Trump will give you a view on anything if asked, and it's absolutely bamboozling. On wind power, clearly it's part of the mix as we run out of fossil fuels, but those for and those against accept that it's not reliable all the time. Again, it's kind of a policy speak answer, but we need a few different types of energy, don't we? Because you can't rely on one.
Yeah, and I agree with President Trump. They are an absolute blight on the horizon. I live on the south coast of Sussex. We've got the Rampion wind farm off there. It's totally... If you're not spotting small boats and dinghies, it's wind farms. It's just ruins the view.
Did you ever go on a school trip to a wind farm? Because I did it at my school. They are absolutely vast, and the little kind of offices on the back of them are actual offices.
Yeah,
there's like a desk in them.
Those are onshore wind farms. Go to the ones out in the coast and off the coast. They are even larger. I think one of the blades is the size of like a Boeing 747. It's absolutely enormous.
It's kind of... and the noise.
We're nerding out here about wind farms.
I know.
Well, this is Ben's next visit. We'll see you in the North Sea.
I went to one, actually. Here's a quick story. What was I doing? I think I was trying to find a mega trawler in the Channel when I worked for The Sun. It was, a story about a mega trawler just destroying the seabed. I went to a local port, got a fisherman to take me out to try and hunt the mega trawler, tracking it on marine traffic, and we had to go through or past the wind farm off the coast of Sussex together. And they're massive.
Awed by the majesty.
Anyway, wind farms.
I mean,
great.
everything's got pros and cons. So if it's the case that having one wind turbine at the top of the hill means that you've got enough power for the whole town or the whole village, then maybe it's worth it. Whereas if you need an entire field of tons of them, absolutely, just to turn on the kettle. I mean, you've got to be pragmatic in that every single energy source is going to have a con. Everything's got pros and cons, and one little con shouldn't be enough for you to just disregard it completely.
But I think this is more about Trump and the view from his golf course. He's just disappointed that he's there teeing off on the 18th hole and he's like, these wind turbines, they've put me off my shot, or, something like that is probably...
I think so, because it wasn't on the agenda before he came over to Scotland. And, suddenly, this is now on the front page of the Telegraph. There's so many more important things for Trump to be talking about.
Never stick to the agenda. Never stick to
I've got something more important. There's a clip which caught my eye this week. You may remember the lockdown trend of clapping out your windows to celebrate the NHS. Well, pro-Palestine protesters have reignited the trend with the deafening addition of pots and pans. Take a watch.
Well done. You're serving the kids. Well done.
Oh, Charlotte, that seems pointless.
Well, I suppose they're making a point about the lack of food. I mean, in that case, it kind of is quite
Is that what it
poignant.
is?
I'm sure that's what they're saying. They're saying there's no rice, there's no grain in our pots. I mean, I think that's what it's about, in which case I actually think it's kind of clever.
Not that funny then, is it?
It's not funny, but it is poignant, possibly. Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a bit sad, that first clip of the two ladies just on their own. Didn't seem very impactful.
I hope this doesn't become a thing like how we had, every Thursday at 8 o'clock or whenever it was, and the whole neighbourhood would just start ringing out. It was fun for the it was fun for the first few weeks, fine, but then I would put my headphones in before it started every time on a Thursday.
OK, thank you, panel. We will discuss this next story in the Daily Mail on Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. Who's going? Chloe, you're going, aren't you?
No, I think Matthew's going.
I think I'm going.
You're going.
We'll see.
And it's Paul Cox. Matthew's going. Paul Cox, former headliner, top comedian, GBNews star, will be with us. We'll be discussing this story in the Daily Mail. The Epping migrant hotel. Tories are now demanding it's closed down. But where will the migrants go? And isn't the bigger question, A, stopping the boats, of course, but B, maybe erecting detention centres? Thank you, Charlotte, for your company. Matthew, thank you for your company. You're going. I'll establish who's staying and going just a second. Matthew's going.
I'm going to reshuffle.
Chloe, thank you very much. Viewers, stick with us in just a tick. Ben Leo Tonight, late edition coming up. First, though, let's get your weather. See you in a sec.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. So Monday is looking a good deal brighter and warmer for many of us. There will still be a few showers around, but many of us will stay dry. And it's all courtesy of this large area of high pressure, the Azores high, ridging towards the UK on Monday. It doesn't last too long though. This frontal system will bring some rain once again by Tuesday. Back to Sunday evening though, and most of the showers are fading away, though some will continue overnight, particularly across the north and the west of Scotland, and some also moving into parts of northwest England on that northwesterly wind. Out towards the east and the south though, the best of the clear skies here, so temperatures in the countryside falling into the high single figures in places, and a bit cooler for many compared to recent nights. It does mean, though, underneath those clearer skies, it will be a much sunnier start to the day compared to Sunday across the east and the south of England in particular. So temperatures quite quickly lifting in that strong July sunshine. A fine day for most of England and Wales, just one or two isolated showers. A few more in the way of showers through the morning across northern and western parts of Scotland. And here, there is still a bit of a breeze coming in from the Atlantic, so a little bit cooler here. But as we go through the course of the day, cloud amounts will vary. Sunshine will come and go, but there will generally be a lot of dry weather on offer on Monday. A scattering of showers developing across England and Wales, but these mostly light and many places will stay dry. And generally in the best of sunshine, we could even see temperatures reaching highs of 24 or 25 Celsius across the south and the east. But certainly a warmer day nationwide and 18 to 20 degrees quite widely in the north of the UK too. For Tuesday, a cloudy and damp picture for many. Outbreaks of rain pushing northwest to southeast across the UK. A lot of low cloud, misty, murky conditions around the coast and over the higher ground. Some heavier showers developing perhaps later too. But generally an unsettled week to come. A mixture of sunshine and showers for many of us. But certainly those temperatures on the rise and feeling very warm and humid at times.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can win big, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? The holiday of a lifetime? Or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah,
and now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, good evening. It's 11 p.m. I'm Ben Leo, and this is Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. And breaking tonight.
Unbelievable. Back-to-back European champions. Like, they're amazing.
No, Keir Starmer hasn't resigned. England are champions of Europe. Yes, the Lionesses won Euro 2025 tonight, beating Spain 3-1